welcome to Crucible Radio. This week, we're going to talk about the new meta. What is it? Who knows? We've got guns to talk about, though. We've got our initial impressions of what's been going on in the Crucible, and a couple of us picked up some sweet new exotics that we definitely got to discuss. This is going to be a good one.
Vroom, vroom.
I agree. Hey, what episode number is this? What are we up to now?
0.26, right? Is that right?
I think it's 0.026. That's the episode number.
That seems a little low. I thought it was going to be higher. Well, if you say so.
Must be a placebo effect or something.
Burn!
Oh, birds, how are you?
Man, I'm good. I'm just like, I like to keep things interesting for you guys. So I've just been traveling continuously for 2 months, but I'm almost back. I was back, and then I left, and I'm about to be back again, but I'm good.
Hiking the Oregon Trail.
Yep. I just wanted to get in touch with old American history, experience cholera, maybe ford a river, your basic stuff. Bones, how are you doing?
Baby boy Bones is doing good. I've been missing you. I've had some separation anxiety from your constant departures.
I know. They're there. It's gonna be
and no
okay.
one listening to this show knows what we mean because you're here every week on the show, and that's what matters.
Yep, we just keep the illusion alive. Mommy and Daddy aren't fighting. No. Go back to bed.
Swainbot, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a weird week, but here we are.
It's been a week.
Feeling good.
Certainly been 7 days.
Yes.
We can agree on that.
It has been 7 days.
Yeah, some time has passed since our last episode, and things happened. Events transpired, and we reacted to those things.
Sure.
As you do.
No one can take fault with any of that. That is all 100% true. It has been an interesting week in the Crucible.
Hey everyone, this is Crucible Radio. This is the podcast for all things Destiny PvP. As you probably know, the Crucible was affected in a few major ways, a few subtle ways over the past week, with the 2.1 patch being shoved into employment. Shoved is the word they actually technically use in game dev. They just sort of
just shove
things.
You shove out that new update yet?
Yeah. And look, it's been not even an entire week for the new meta to set in. We have some first impressions, that's for sure, and that's what we'll be covering this week. But for our episode next week, we have some big news. We are going to be interviewing Sage Merrill and John Wisniewski, sandbox designers behind the gun changes, the Titan changes, which were huge, I think. We've seen a lot of that. And we will be talking to them for the entire episode, really getting the down and dirty and the nitty gritty and the itty bitty and the pulse rifles and the shotguns and the auto rifles.
So if you have questions for us, we would love to hear them. Keep them focused on Sage and John's expertise, please.
Yep. No raid secrets.
And you can just send us at Crucible Radio on Twitter.
Yeah, any format, let us know. But again, these guys do the sandbox, and they do. John is the master of all weapons. We'll want to talk about the Crucible as a whole as the conversation takes us that way. But they won't have every answer that every Bungie employee would be able to provide. They are two men, but they are important men. And we are going to really enjoy talking to them.
Oh, yes. They are human men. They are North American men.
North American.
Yep. Hey.
Important distinction.
Yes. Nobody can deny the fact that they are both residing in North America. I'm like 90% sure, at least. All right. So we're gonna talk about first impressions, sort of what we've experienced in the Crucible. But we talked about it last week, and it's worth a mention at least. How you guys digging the Sparrow Racing League?
I'm very much enjoying it.
I've been putting some hours in.
Oh, yeah.
I probably spent most of Thursday playing it, and it's been a great breakup from the monotony that can be the Crucible sometimes. Sometimes you get a little tilted, or you get a little upset. Sure. And this week has been tough, but having Sparrow Racing there has definitely helped it. I just jump in, go about, racing against my friends,
Yeah.
racing against viewers, having a good time, getting some really sweet gear, really sweet shaders, all that.
Yeah, I gotta say, to see like 2 legendary items drop at the end of most matches,
It's unreal.
kind of cool. Like I got all the helms in like a handful of matches. Just
Yeah. Just, not even related to like saltiness or whatever, but just the change up in muscle memory and the things your hands are doing. Because Crucible can get monotonous even if you love it. You play 9 games in a trials ticket. That's a lot of Crucible. So it's been nice for me to just like make my brain and my hands do different things for a little bit. And it's a nice downtime kind of relaxing thing that can still get pretty hype and fun. Mm-hmm. And I've had some really fun close races with people passing me at the last second or me flying over someone to win on the Venus map. It's been pretty cool.
I have this, like, I'll play a match and I'll be like pushing, like, challenging first, usually second or third place, and then I'll just like misjudge a turn at the very end of the last lap and go like, all right, I'm done. This is not for me. Very fun, and then like 2 minutes later, I'm queuing up in the next match.
I will say this: there is some neat gear to be obtained from Sparrow Racing League. The helmet has the Angel of Mercy?
Yep.
It's a neat perk that the Trials helmets have that give you super energy on revives, which is kind of cool. It makes it pretty useful if you want to take it into PvP. Otherwise, you can switch off to some Sparrow-related perks on it. It's to be talked about because it does these things. It offers you these perks that are available. It gives you gear that can be 320 light, which is always great.
Mm-hmm.
Helps you with your trials runs and Iron Banner when it rolls around. So it has merit to be talked about. There's benefits of it.
Also, one thing that continues to be the number one reason that I love Destiny is the design team and the graphics and the visuals.
Oh, yeah.
And the Sparrow Racing League logo and color scheme are just so cool. Like, they are awesome. I love how the tower looks, and I love that these live events, even if they're casual or if they don't have a lot of high stakes, you just get the sense of time passing. Like I said, back when Festival of the Lost occurred, you have a sense of seasons and stuff like that. And the tower looks so cool, and I love dropping down and just seeing those the paints on the stairs. That was so cool. All the banners and the sparrows being built. Really, really awesome touches, and that's really what makes these events kind of successful.
That opening moment when you drop into a Sparrow race and it kind of like does close-ups on different racers, it never gets old. And like every time, like I get to be the guy who puts his foot in the holster or the stirrup, I guess you call it. It's like, yeah, that's me. Better get ready. I will say, a little frustrated that there's not one but 2 different buttons to cause you to jump off of your Sparrow, which I can't remember ever wanting to do in a Sparrow race, but I certainly have done a lot of.
I've had some troubles with my Scuff controller accidentally like hitting the paddle and jumping off. And I'm like, no!
Yep.
Shout out to Edgar Allan Bro in my chat the first time we did Sparrow Racing, and I'm like figuring out the controls. I don't know the map yet. And he's in my chat, and he goes, press X to use the jump or the boost once you're over 130. And I was like, oh, sick, cool. And I'm flying in first place and hop off and just blow up. It's
like what? What just happened?
Damn it. I got trolled, man. I got trolled hard.
Are you guys using boosting Sparrows?
No.
I'm using the fancy new ones.
Yo, I followed Invicta's advice, setting world records for Team Inclement represent. And he always boosts with the lateral movements around turns instead of slowing down with the handbrake.
Yeah.
You take a turn and then you boost into that turn, which keeps your momentum and your speed and also cuts the corner closer.
Yep.
It's a really effective strategy.
I was taking some tips from Invicta as well. Get my Sparrow racing up.
It's not enough that Invicta's going to stomp everybody in trials. Be number 1 Rumble champion defender Titan. Now he's got to take this from us, dude. No, congratulations, Invicta, friend of the show.
I think someone beat him, but I won't say that. Delete this.
All right. Enough about Sparrow Racing. It's fun, but this is Crucible Radio. We had a balance update, and balance updates are always a good opportunity to sort of go through your vault, try out a bunch of stuff that might have been getting a little bit moldy in the corners. I personally just feel a little bit better, like not feeling obligated to like take in my Nerwins to every single match. It's like, I'll just change it up a little bit,
I would say my favorite thing about this update was that 3 of coins is now usable in the Crucible. We saw like a few complaints about it before where they're like, wow, like strikes, people have, I don't want to have to grind strikes. I want to use it in the Crucible.
Mm-hmm.
Here they go. Stealth threw it in there, made everybody happy. I've been using it, been excited. I was going into this week thinking I'm going to have to not do Sparrow racing, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll just grind strikes so I can get some of these new exotics. Nope. Crucible.
How's that been working out for you?
Pretty great. I've used probably 40 of them, and I've gotten probably like seven or 8 exotics from it.
Nice.
I do it less frequently, but I definitely appreciate not feeling like I need to go do a specific activity. I'm super down for exotic quests. Those are the coolest things to me. But in the world of just getting stuff through RNG, it's so fun to just be like, yo, let's play 5 games of Control tonight, and at some point I might end up with the Tarantella, and that's really awesome. So, and to have that happen during trials just kind of gets you in the zone and really happy. I guess I got it from a package, but hey, it's cool to get exotics from different places.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you want to talk loadouts?
Yeah, we've been changing it up. I don't know, Bones, what have you been using?
I have changed primary every single game I've played this week, which is stressful and sometimes frustrating experience, but also feels really nice to not have this go-to, obviously use this weapon. And a few of those people have definitely decided on, and they very well might be right. But for me, I'm just having fun trying out different stuff, even if it doesn't feel like, okay, this is the next dominant weapon, or maybe it's just a fun gun. I still like using other things, and it's been nice to switch it up.
Yeah. Well, I spent a little bit of time on Tuesday when the patch came out, trying all sorts of different things before we knew about the specifics of the patch notes. Played a little bit with Fabian's strategy. It felt good. I liked the new version. It's definitely a good update to what it was. You can definitely feel it getting faster when you get closer. It's not exactly, S tier or even A tier at this point, but it's a fun weapon. Like you said, you like using the different weapons just to have fun in the Crucible. Mm-hmm. But on Friday, Zer brought the primary, legacy, engram back around with him. And I finally got the Mida again.
Oh, you're back. Suede's back.
I was going to see how long into this episode we could go without saying the name Mida.
Mida is back, baby.
Mida Multi-Bay.
I woke up on Friday, and I looked at my phone, and I was like, oh, crap, primary, legacy, engram. And I ran to my PlayStation, turned it on, and dumped a bunch of strange coins into it. I got the bad juju, and then I finally got it. Got the Mida. And I was like, well, I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes getting a year 2 version and throwing all of my weapons away just to upgrade it.
Mm-hmm. You sound like a kid finding out it's a snow day, like waking up and running over to the window.
Yeah.
Like, oh, sweet.
Pretty much, yeah, that's what it was. And then I just proceeded to dismantle a bunch of weapons I probably will regret at some point, but not at the moment.
Yeah.
Got a 311 Mida.
311 Mida's the most important thing.
And that's all I used last night.
It just felt good to have it back, even though, there's nothing stopping you pulling out year 1 Mida. Well, stopping you, Swain, but there's nothing stopping people who have a year 1 Mida from pulling it out in regular Crucible. But I just love that I don't feel like I'm sticking with the year 1 gun, like it's back and it's available to everybody. Mm-hmm. Maybe we should just spend a second. It's such a beloved gun, and I actually found out something interesting about it. But what is it exactly about this gun that we love so much?
Everything?
Everything for starters. Well, the mobility is great, and I learned from Fizz sort of that strafing between every shot to just continually try and shake the aim assist, make it harder to get that initial hit, and having the lightweight plus the mobility boost definitely helps with that.
Well, it hits like a truck when you need it to. Mm-hmm. You kind of stagger people, and you keep them from, getting their sights directly on your head and helping yourself by not letting them get headshots on you. But also, I really, it's just kind of like a cherry on the top. But I love the fact that it has third eye. Mm-hmm. It's not useful in Inferno or anything, but just that added little perk. You get to see your radar when everybody else can't. It's definitely beneficial in something like Trials, and especially for a weapon that makes you so mobile. As soon as you see that radar ping and you're not set up, all you have to do is run, and you get set up into the right spot, get yourself ready for that sniper shot, or you can move in quick and get that shotgun kill. It's definitely, it adds to how awesome the gun is.
Well, let's be honest, too. It has unparalleled base stats.
Yeah.
It's smooth. It's got good stability. It has 100 reload speed. It has the highest aim assist of any scout rifle. It has a very rare rate of fire, which makes it very comfortable. And it just, it works, man. It literally floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee. And I remember the conversation before the patch dropped in the quiet recesses of our chats where we kind of speculate and people are going, what if they change it because it was so good, or it might dominate? But what could you honestly change about Mida because it's so there? You know, everything is right.
Multi-tool.
Which I can't say for many other guns. Everything is just like, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing so overpowered, and its exotic perk is not something that just automatically kills faster than other guns, you know, but it gives players an advantage that really makes sense.
I think it's the perfect example of an exotic weapon.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not overpowered, but it has its unique perks. It makes it, you know, it's not like anything else. And, you know, you can go into a match, and if you're good with that gun, you're good with that gun. It's not that like, oh, someone gave you a Mida and automatically you're the best player on the map. No, you actually have to like understand the gun and understand the movement and understand the strafing in order to use it well.
So along those lines, I actually learned something interesting about Mida recently. You know, you mentioned the third eye, and I think the third eye really complements the scope as well. Like, it's got a really fast ADS speed, and the scope is sort of that good match of having some zoom to it without totally isolating you from your surroundings. But it's got a reticle that's, you know, the crosshairs are shaped like a carrot. And the trick with this gun that is not obvious at first is that the bullet doesn't go to the point of the reticle. You kind of want to view that reticle, that little carrot, you want to view it as a hat, and you want to put it on their head. And if you're putting the point of it right on sort of their chin, you're going to be aiming a little bit low. You're not going to get the headshots that you want. So just push it up just a little bit higher than you think. Make them wear the hat against their will, and then shoot them 4 times.
Wear the hat!
Well, you'll wear the hat. And that's kind of the secret sauce to get that 4 headshot kill that makes that archetype so wonderful.
Headshot.
Out of breath.
Well, all right. Enough
Mida.
circle blanking about Mida.
Yeah.
Praise Mida.
Resume that next week. No problem.
So, to discuss some other primaries, I'm going to come right out and say that pulse rifles still feel very good, at least some of them. I can say that Nerwins and my PDX, my Suros, definitely do their job. They definitely don't get those quick little 2.5 bursts where you feel like maybe I didn't hit them, but they die and you just don't question it because why would you? You do have to hit your shots, but it does feel right, but they still feel very strong. I was using both of them in trials pretty consistently.
Hawksaw feels good too.
Yeah. Unfortunately, our high impact friends strangely took quite a hit, and it's something that we might have to bring up next week, but those don't seem to really be competitive anymore, and a lot of people are saying they were kind of just in the right zone to begin with, so I don't know.
The super fast firing ones, like the Grasp, those still feel the same from what I'm hearing. Yeah, they're not too much change. They may have lost 1 damage point, but that's not too much when you're already putting a ton of headshots on them.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely saw the damage go down for pulse rifles across the board. But I think what I noticed is that it's kind of that decision that you make between something like Nerwins or Red Death or Villainy or Hawksaw, PDX 45, those sort of, you know, faster shooting pulse rifles. The decision is still basically the same. I like Nerwins because it's still a very reliable 3-burst kill. Hawks, on the other hand, shoots faster. It's more forgiving in that sense, and it rewards if you can consistently hit headshot bursts. Even though the damage has gone down across the board, that sort of decision point between the two of those is still pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Well, Swain, you mentioned the Fabian strategy, and I was really excited to pull out my Paleo Contact. It's one of those mid-tier auto rifles, and actually the one that got, you know, the biggest boost out of all of them, a 0.78% boost. And I don't know if it's like placebo effect or not. I mean, that's not a huge difference. And, you don't see your time to kill that different. But I do have to say, I had a lot of fun with it. I would not take it into a sweaty kind of situation, but it was a really fun change of pace to just shoot an auto rifle, just because the way it feels is just very different from shooting a pulse or shooting a scout rifle, to just kind of focus on keeping the crosshairs on the enemy for as long as you can.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that's map specific, but I enjoyed the change of pace.
I will agree. It kind of felt like a placebo effect, because going into Tuesday night, when we didn't know the specifics of the changes because of the decimal points, I felt good. It felt decent to melt someone with Fabian's strategy. It felt decent to use the doctrine. And like you said, it's probably a placebo effect. And it might have also been a result of everyone trying out something different. Mm-hmm. It kind of messed up the meta of the game, and it kind of threw everything out the window and was like, all right, well, you're all using auto rifles now, and one guy's using a scout rifle, and this guy over here is over here using his Byronic hero. It wasn't settled, and it wasn't like you were going up against what is strong right now. So that's probably why it felt good.
With balances, right? Like, you don't have to necessarily make something better to make it more competitive by sort of pulling something else down. You might see a change.
Yeah.
I'm going to admit, I kind of looking forward to that 8% damage boost.
Everybody's sitting there petting their doctrine of passing.
Right.
Like, your time is coming.
But I will say, it did feel, and maybe it was just that everyone's trying out new things, it did feel like there was just a little bit more room for an auto rifle to make sense. I didn't feel like I was just getting punished at super long distances by a pulse every time I pull it out.
There's definitely other people that are saying that they're still using auto rifles and enjoying them. We put a question out on Twitter Saturday night asking what people are using, and I saw a lot of auto rifles in there. Some Zalo, some Doctrine. People are definitely using them. To what effect, I'm not sure, but they like using them, and that's what matters.
I have no comment about auto rifles.
Had your heart broken one too many times?
I simply do not know what to think. I'm like numb to it. I honestly don't know where they fit into the meta. I don't know what is necessary or not necessary to do to them, so I'm just going to wait, and I look forward to our conversation with John next week. I can't even comment this week.
Fair enough. Well, what about hand cannons? Do you have anything to say there?
Oh, of course.
I had a feeling,
Now, I do not know yet, and no one does, technically, where hand cannons fall on the competitive level besides the last word. I think the last word is certainly not its old self. It's no longer in its prime, but it's definitely having some glory days here, and definitely a strong competitor that I've seen a lot in Sweaty Crucible playing Skirmish and in Trials this weekend on the Drifter. As far as other exotics and legendaries, the first Curse is definitely a gun capable of being used, which it was not prior to this patch. It's just too slow. It hits like a tank, but it's so slow that in a close match, I'm afraid to use it. But as far as just like hopping into some casuals, I really enjoy it. It's fun. It's got the spin, which is so nice, and it's fun. And the perk works. It actually does get you kills, and it's got that range, which is nice. I have been experimenting with Byronic Hero and IS Luna. I don't know if either of you guys have those guns.
I do have an IS Luna with rangefinder on it that I've been saving for this update. It actually worked pretty decent. It was sort of right up there with the Hawk Moon, but I think it's safe to say it's definitely in a more comfortable place now.
I may have infused one of those into the Mida in a blind fury.
It happens.
So I don't really remember.
See, I had a God Roll IS Luna, and just before the patch had picked up a Byronic Hero with Outlaw and Icarus. Not the best, stat boosting perks to have on a primary, but it looked like a fun weapon, and I wanted to use both of those. And this kind of led me to a discovery that kind of defines my feelings about my not like the others versus hung jury, because I know there are people who refuse to put down hung jury, but I'm really against the weapon because I think the visual base stats that we see in our fruit space are deceiving, and its hidden stats make it less of a good weapon. I think the same thing exists with Byronic and IS Luna, and I found to have way more success on my Byronic even if I had those lesser perks, because the IS Luna has 50 aim assist, and 60 recoil direction. To put that in perspective, Byronic Hero is sitting there with 71 aim assist and like almost max recoil direction. So even if the little green bar is not as strong, if I'm comparing the two, I really like the feel of the Byronic better, and it just goes to show you how you just have to take that extra step to do a little research. And, of course, there's a billion stats that go into these weapons that we will never understand and will probably never be released by Bungie, but you can do that extra effort to see what's up, and it really does influence my decision when I look at weapons now. So I'm pretty happy that I kind of got to experiment with the two of those. You're welcome.
All right, so that's enough with primaries. We have
more primaries. Hand cannons.
No, let it go.
More.
Okay.
Let it go.
Secondaries.
Drop it.
So last week I picked up an arms day order for a pretty great fusion rifle.
Oh, yeah.
That I'm finding pretty viable right now. I know you like this gun, Birds. You want to talk about it?
Oh, you're talking about the Thiessen FR4. And honestly, I think especially in light of this most recent balance update, it is safe to say that this is the best legendary fusion rifle in the game. This gun is, you can get some great rolls on it from the gunsmith. So if you happen to pick up an order and you don't quite see the one you want, you're going to want to pick up braced frame for sure. That's going to give you that max stability. And it's crazy to see the max stability because your groupings are just so tight. And you can hold on to it if he doesn't have quite the roll that you're looking for one week. This gun it hits like a truck. It's very easy to max out the stability, and it's very high impact. And I think sort of looking at the bigger picture of these balance changes, there's really been a shift towards these high impact fusions as being the dominant choice. Whereas before, there were sort of more choices if you wanted a faster charging gun. But I guess in my experience so far, it's really, if you're looking to get that one hit kill with the fusion rifle, the Thiessen is going to be the choice. If you're looking at year one stuff, it's a very similar gun to the trolley problem. It's just a little bit harder than Plug One, Purifier, Give Take, Snakebite Surgeon, all those. You don't have that same guaranteed land 5 bolts and get the kill that you used to with those other impact tiers.
So how do you feel about that? You feel like that's deserved for that archetype, and that it's only should be reserved for these high impact fusions?
Well, I haven't really thought about trying to do the sniper thing where you just, you get off the best shot you can and then finish them off with your primary. I would say here's the difference for me is that when I first started using fusions, I liked the fastest charging fusions with accelerated coils that you could get because I wanted to treat it like any other gun. And the more I've played with them, the more I've really started to appreciate guns that are very slow charging. They hit hard, and you kind of have to be a little more premeditative. They're excellent defensive guns if you're being rushed because they're trying to close a gap, and that gives you the time to charge it up. I think if that's the play style that you like from a fusion, then you're in good shape right now. For people who want a faster charging, more aggressive gun, you're kind of in a position where you have to get really close or, maybe try and switch to that primary or something. I don't know. Maybe someone will figure out a new technique with them there. But if I hear someone charging up a fusion rifle in the Crucible, I can make a pretty good guess about how they're intending to use it.
I was really kind of up in the air with fusions, and I really didn't know how I feel about them or how they got affected by this patch. But I think you may make a really good point with the fact that the fast charging ones got a decrease in strength. Because remember back in the day, like you said, the only thing to spec for on a fusion rifle was reduce the charge time, make it faster, and that's it. Because they all hit like trucks if you get it on, and why not make it faster, a sort of a longer range shotgun. And people have been asking this week, where do they fit into the meta? And we see this in primaries now working to some better effect with the range. You know when you're in auto rifle range, and you know when you're in pulse rifle range now, and you know when you're in scout rifle range. So that fusion rifle has to fall in the middle between shotguns and snipers. Not the perfect middle. It's not, it's not 25 yards and another 25 yards, but that fast charging tank let you just be a shotgunner from a few more meters out, which didn't make sense. And obviously that's going to frustrate someone who used the Split Shifter Pro to great effect when no one else was. That's got to feel good. I totally would love to be able to just dominate with a weapon that no one else was using. but that's why. I think that's really why. And there's still more questions to be asked about where they fit in, but that kind of clarified things, you just sort of explaining that. So I'm interested to see the future of fusions and hear from John next week. Again, I'm going to keep saying that a lot.
I mean, I guess I'm lucky that my favorite gun happened to be in the archetype that still works in the way people were using it before. I also have to say I'm so happy to have Mida back, because Mida plus a fusion is one of my favorite oddball loadouts. They just go together so well.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned shotguns and snipers, though. Let's talk about shotguns. I mean, we definitely saw probably the most single number of changes to any given gun type with the shotgun changes. How does that coming across and feel for you guys?
Honestly, I think they're fine. I think they're good. I get that the sniper usage in trials is up, but I don't know if it's just a simple issue of addressing the other special weapons. I don't really know about that, but shotguns themselves, I did better on the Drifter this weekend in trials. Obviously, it's a close quarter map with a shotgun than I did sniping, but I normally snipe regardless. I don't care where I'm going to be doing it. I'll snipe you from 5 feet away if I can, but I just really kept falling back to my party crasher, and it felt good. They didn't let me blink up in the air and kill 2 guys at one time like this was some year 1 nonsense anymore. Those days are over, but I also didn't feel especially limited or as if I could not compete. They ended up saving the day quite a few times.
Well, I feel like it took, in order to use the shotgun appropriately in those situations, it took some planning and thinking. Whereas before, you just kind of dropped in the middle of these 3 guys, and you're like, all right, well, if I have a high enough sensitivity, I can get a shot off on all 3. But now it feels like, all right, I'm coming up into this area. I got to plan my attack. I got to know where they are, which is very similar to what you have to do for a sniper rifle. You have to plan your attack. You have to put some thought into it. So it's no longer this blind charge ahead, get the shot off, run and get the next one. It is think about where all your enemies are and plan your attack accordingly.
Yep.
I like that.
And I also feel like it's not as immediate to notice, but the other little tweaks to balance help shotguns still be okay. I mean, they meet their contracts, right? The contracts are those things where if you have a weapon called something, you're going to expect it to do a certain thing. And a shotgun, you expect to, when you put it in their gut, it's going to kill them. And they certainly still do that. I could imagine if Titans still had their old melee range, why shotgun nerf would really suck for 1/3 of players. But now that the melees actually hit where that shotgun range is, that follow-up is not difficult. And you just have to, like Swain said, know when to pull it out. You can't get away with just sprinting around a corner with your shotgun out to try to get those kills, because you'll get lit up. But they feel good.
What about snipers? I mean, is there anything to say about snipers aside from if you're not sniping yet, now's the time to start practicing?
I mean, you should have been practicing months ago, but...
Yeah. This isn't entirely related to the patch, but this conversation about aim assist has been driving me crazy online. There's plenty of ways to find out exactly how it works, namely our previous interview with John Wisniewski. I think they're all in a good spot, to be totally honest. It's not aim assist that is making snipers effective. It's the fact that a lot of people have had a lot of time to get very good at them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And look, if you want to compete against a good player, they're going to have their weapon that they want to use. I don't think in any way do snipers give some below average player a chance to dominate just because of their weapon selection, which arguably maybe Fell Winters did that back in the day for sure. But I cannot equate the sniper situation currently to that same scenario. I think it's an issue of maybe availability, selection.
Yeah.
The amount of snipers that do a certain thing and the scopes that do a certain thing. Maybe the selection is the issue, and I think that came up a long time ago. But no way is it just a thing where everyone's just picking up snipers and winning.
I feel like you touched on it really perfectly before, where you said that these people had a lot of time to play with them and use these snipers and get used to them. There's other mechanics that affect the way you see snipers, like special ammo availability and the fact that you're only seeing a few snipers because only a few snipers are available right now with the perks that people want.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But like you see someone get a ridiculous headshot or like something like crazy, like a drag shot that you're like, oh, that shouldn't have killed me. It's because it's this unique situation where this person had to play in that meta of year 1, patch 2, where they had to do some ridiculous stuff to compete. And now we're settling into a more, I don't want to say balanced, but like a better way of seeing things. And they're just rising a little bit more.
And let's be honest, there's latency issues.
Oh, of course.
It happens. It happens in every scenario all the time. That's just the reality we have with the space internet currently. And that definitely...
Stupid space internet.
To someone who feels that they've been wronged, it might look like they got cheated out of something, but it just happens.
Yeah. Well, that's enough for secondaries, guys. I think we covered them all. You want to take a quick break? Come do some armor?
Yeah.
Slight recess, slight return. Let's do it.
Some music.
If you've ever wondered, yes, we always make music sounds ourselves without actually hearing the music. So right now we're all just like do 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 do.
Yep. We've all picked different songs in our heads. It's gonna work out.
That's right. I'm so out of breath.
Hey everybody, Birds here. I have kind of a strange request this week. We're looking to expand the show, we're looking to do more, and in order to expand, we need to help share the burden of building the show. We are putting feelers out to see if there's any producers that can help us put together the show. We're talking audio editing, mixing, working with musicians, and it's a pretty tricky job. It takes a lot of time, and so we're looking for someone with some experience there. Bonus points if you live in the LA area, bonus points if you use Ableton, which is how we produce the shows, and we'd love to hear from you. So if you have some experience here and you think you'd be a good fit for working with us, go ahead, send us an email, crucibleradio@gmail.com, and tell us what you're all about, and tune in next week. Thank you, listeners. All right, welcome back. We talked about primaries. We talked about secondaries. We just skipped over heavies because who cares, am I right? Don't pick up heavy.
Dragon's Breath.
Sweaties.
Well, okay. Yeah, maybe we could talk about Dragon's Breath a little bit.
I think it's dope.
It's dope.
Bounce it off walls. It bounces.
Napalm.
It bounces?
It's absurd. Yes, dude. You can ricochet. It's not like a straight up sleeper, loss of momentum, but it'll bounce off a wall and move to the left, and you can actually you can put it around corners. It's pretty sick.
Heavy segment over. Two other big things to talk about. We got our hands on some new exotics, which include some new armor. And we also saw some subclass changes in the Titan department. But let's talk about armor. Swain, how is your new armor situation going?
Yesterday was a great day for me. Wake up, get my Meta multi-tool, go to work, do all that nonsense.
Better than a cup of coffee.
And then come home, play some trials with my buddy Bones, and use some 3 coins, and have the Twilight Garrison drop for me.
Yes, sir!
The chest engram dropped, and I was like, Bones, can we go to the tower? Let's go to the tower. Went to the tower, decrypt it, immediately like I did with the Mida, blindly infused a bunch of things into it, and upgraded it all the way, and went into trials with it. I probably wasn't very helpful for those few matches because I was just in awe of the fact that I can evade ridiculous amounts.
All right, he's inside. He's at the heavy. Sweet, get down from there.
Sorry, guys.
Watch me
busy air dashing right now.
Just bouncing around. I'm in love. It's great. I'm loving it at first, when we were using it last night. It's great paired with the Mida, like everything is. Makes you quick, makes you be able to avoid all sorts of things. I saw some great video from today where someone was during the heavy round. They would jump into the air, lock onto their target with their truth, and shoot it. And then as soon as they shoot it, they evade. Because usually in those situations, you're in like a 1v1 rocket launcher battle. And by the time that you that you have your scope on them with your truth rocket, they usually have, a scope on you. And in that situation, you just like bounce to the right, out of the way. You're good. Get that kill. You didn't trade. I think it's really good for something like that. But I would say that it may be more beneficial in 6s. In 3s last night, I kind of felt like every once in a while, I would rather have the 2 grenades from Armamentarium. I'll have to play around with it a little more. It's one of those things like Shade Step, you got to get used to it.
Yep.
And you got to get used to being able to incorporate it into your movement, because it is a very high skill movement being added into your repertoire.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it gets worked into sort of the movement vocabulary. I mean, when you think about sort of the role that shoulder charge plays as part of the Titan skate, it's just such a critical method for being able to take sharp corners, just being able to change momentum on the fly. And if you're not rocking Striker, you're not running shoulder charge, but you do have Twilight Garrison, I'm curious to see just the role it ends up taking there, if it's something that becomes a fluid part of your base movement, or if it's just a freak out scenario type.
Last night I was sacrificing shoulder charge because I knew I had the 2 evade moves, and I was sacrificing it for the ridiculous amount of armor. Either that or Juggernaut. It ends up being this like trade-off which I think all subclasses should be. There should be some sort of trade-off for your movement, for your special skills like shoulder charge and your melees and such. It felt great to be able to have that high amount of armor, but still be able to move like I did have shoulder charge.
It looks fun. That's all I can say. I haven't got mine yet.
Yeah, I was really gunning to get this in the first week, and I am so glad it dropped for me.
I have to say, the more I look at the word Twilight, the less it seems like it's spelled correctly. That's TW. It just looks weird. But that's
Garrison is spelled correctly, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, at least I got one of them. All right.
So, Birds, last week you said that you had one exotic that you were going to pick up from the kiosk immediately. Did you end up doing that?
I did. Well, I got Mida first, and then I grinded out as many marks as I could to pick it up. Going into year 2, Acleophage Symbiote, I'd really clicked into Gunslinger at the end of year 1, and Acleophage Symbiote was just such a crucial part of that. There wasn't really a Gunslinger-specific exotic that I was just psyched about using every single match, because that 4th Golden Gun shot is just nuts. I mean, that is whiff a shot and still get 3 kills. That's 2/3 of a team wipe if you're playing 6s. It's just such a handy thing to have in your pocket. But in the year 2 Acleophage Symbiote, they've given you a very tricky trade-off, which is that if you do equip it, you're going to get your 4 Golden Gun shots, but your Golden Gun timer goes down to about 7 seconds. And it was pretty quick before, considering how long Sunbreaker Stormcaller lasts. It was, and I just looked this up, 11.78 seconds before. And honestly, the hardest part about really doing a Golden Gun right for me, and under any circumstances, is just timing it, because you have such a small window to try and get everything lined up to pick up all 3 kills. To have a little bit more wiggle room with the Acleophage with that 4th shot, if I miss one or I'm playing 6s, it's nice. But to just feel that much more pressure trying to make it perfect, it's like, all right, well, I'm going to need an extra shot because I'm going to whiff one because I'm trying as fast as I can to get these shots off. It's tricky. I'm not sure how much I'll end up using this. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to play with this one a bit more. If 7 seconds ends up being something I can get comfortable with, I'll be using it. But there's just a lot of other choices for hunters, especially now, that it might not actually see a ton of play.
Well, it definitely plays into their idea of thinking, you're gonna have to trade off, for like everything, guns, for your supers, for your exotics. You kind of have to give and take now. Yep.
I mean, Golden Gun is one of those supers that really before Sunbreaker showed up, and in a way even more so, it is a guaranteed kill, especially if you use Over the Horizon. Like, you can just nail someone from across the map, guaranteed kill on them. And, adding an extra shot to that is a huge advantage, but we'll see if I end up using that Acleophage. 7 seconds is not a lot of time, and I just don't like having that pressure on it. I may end up using that exotic slot for double trip mines instead. We'll see. There's a lot of great choices. And on the Blade Dancer side, Bones, you actually got a hold of an exotic that I'm looking forward to trying out, but I've not gotten my hands on yet. Tell me about Tarantella.
Yeah, the ATS/8 Tarantella. I think I'm just going to call it the Tarantula because that's a mouthful.
Yeah, sounds good.
It dropped for me last night in Trials, which was an exciting thing. I think I got it from a silver tier package, which is pretty sweet. I don't know how much it affects me immediately. I will say that I know Real Crafty endorses it. That's what I heard through the grapevine. It's nice to have something other than Third Man for that subclass specific. I'll say that. And I think that's very much why it's in the game, is you get more choices than just running Third Man if you want a Blade Dancer specific exotic, which is really cool because, you know, in sixes, what are you going to wear? Crest of Alpha Loopy? Like, that doesn't make sense. And now you don't have to just run Third Man. So I like it. I think it's cool and I like the offers it has. I love the exotics that have that extracurricular change to it, that sort of passive perk that we always talk about. It's not something that's just immediately giving you one more blast on your super, but something that charges your super and your grenades faster, which I think is cool. And you can definitely fit that into your build as far as intellect, discipline, and strength goes. Maybe you can max your discipline to have crazy grenades all the time, or lighten up on those two and value strength a little bit more just because you have that backup with your exotic. So I'm going to be playing with it a little bit more, and it definitely was fun on Drifter because I think Blade Dancer really shined it on the Drifter. So it was a cool one to pick up, and I equipped it right away.
Nice. Love these new exotics.
Oh, yeah.
Long time coming.
So we had some changes this week to the Titan subclass. I'm really excited next week to talk to Sage in full about these. You'll get an earful about all the changes to the Titans. But I just kind of wanted to give my a quick feedback of how I felt right off the bat. I would say that Hammer of Soul, it feels like it's in the right place. You can get sniped now, which is amazing, and you can snipe them. You can actually melee, put a shot into them and melee them now, which is great. And from using it, it doesn't feel ridiculous anymore. It doesn't feel like I could walk into a room and take everyone out. I kind of have to plan it. It kind of feels like how we were talking about shotguns. I kind of have to readjust the way I play the Hammer Titan. I got to think about my attack a little bit more. Just can't blindly run into rooms and hope it all works out. But for strikers were great. I love using the striker currently. I used it all last night in Trials, equipping max armor. That's a ridiculous amount of armor on the Titans. Having your Juggernaut active in the air. These are all great changes that I'm really appreciating right off the bat.
Yeah, I don't even know how to handle a Juggernaut. Like, I've never experienced that. I've never had to practice it. What do I do? They're just scary.
They could shrug off a golden gunshot, that's for sure.
Right, they just tank things, man. They can handle everything if you get that shield up and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Like I said, we'll talk about this at length next week when we have Sage on.
We absolutely will, and we will have plenty of stuff to talk about them, guns-wise, Titans-wise. We have plenty of stuff to cover as we move towards 2016. We have tons of awesome guests coming up. It's been tough to schedule this with the holidays and all that, but we have a lot of cool things just ready to get going. So look forward to the next few episodes,
Well, the music has come on, which, as you listeners know, mean that we're going to get a little emotional as we wind down the show.
Whoa.
It's been a very emotional week for all of us, and we're feeling it. But, of course, if you want to hear a little bit more about Crucible Radio, Swain, tell them what to do.
You can find us all over the space internet. Twitter, Crucible Radio. Find me and Bones on Twitch. We stream all the time. You can hang out with us, get some groups together, do some sweaty Crucible matches, or, Sparrow racing. It's all fun. You can find us on Budgie.net, Crucible Radio, and please follow us on Facebook. That's Crucible Radio as well.
Join the Kells Angels.
Oh, yeah.
Sparrow Racing Club.
Yeah, join the Sparrow Racing Club. Kells Angels. Ride or die.
I feel like I held it together on this episode. I have been emotionally drained this week, but look, we've got some big stuff coming up.
All about that moral support,
Want a hug?
Yeah.
You can't really hear a hug, but we're hugging.
Still waiting on that girlfriend, Swade.
Does not compute.
Shut up.